Welcome to Tales from the Brick, where we tell the stories behind our favorite plastic bricks. This week, I'm joined by Joe Meno, longtime AFOL, founder of BrickJournal Magazine, and organizer of multiple LEGO conventions. Welcome,
Hi.
Joe.
Hi. How are you,
How you doing?
man?
I'm doing well. How you doing, Joe?
Doing pretty well. This is the downtime between all events, so it's always nice to relax.
Yeah, it's nice that we're recording this in December, so it's that quiet time between all conventions.
Yep. Yep. I'm actually working on a magazine, but you didn't hear that. So
Uh-oh. I'm sure we'll get to that.
deadlines, man. Deadlines.
Deadlines. So, Joe, how did you get into LEGO?
Oh, it's a very long, convoluted story. No, it isn't. Actually, it started out when I was working, let's see, 1998, if you want to be precise. Uh, I was between jobs. I ended up working over at Walt Disney World, and I worked over at Disney Quest from '98 till '99. But during that time, I realized I needed to get some more money, so I ended up getting a job over at the Lego Imagination Center. And while I only lasted 6 weeks at that job because it was a meat grinder of a job, I got back into the hobby because, well, I got discounts with the sets. And that was the time that the Star Wars sets first came out. So I
Ah,
literally got an X-wing, and that restarted me back into the hobby. I had before then I've been very sporadic in it, and but I got into it, and then at the same time some things happened online uh, that got me deeper and deeper into the hobby. So it was just a matter of timing.
yeah. I mean, Star Wars is what kind of brought me back as well. So I can totally vibe with that. Those 1999 sets were pretty killer at the time.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the X-wing for what it was just an amazing little set, and it was for a long time. It set the standard for me in terms of not a set in terms of like really impressive, but in terms of the part selection. All it was one of those where it's like you can tear it apart and take a look at all the parts. I can do this, and I would do that, and it was that's what made it so much fun. And at the time, you know, it was one of those things where literally I would get the set and I'd run over to wherever clearing there was and open the set and just build it outside. You know, it was that much fun for me at the
Nice.
time. So,
Uh, yeah, I mean, it's still, you get that set and you rush home to build it as it is. So I know
yeah,
that feeling.
yeah. And because there wasn't anything else there at the time. And so you're just like, uh, this is way back when before online and all this other stuff. So you're just there with the set. There are no websites or anything with reviews. There's nothing out there. And so it's just you and this little box and you do what you want. And first thing I built the set and go, dang, that's cool. And I play around with it a little bit, notice the little idiosyncrasies. And then after that, you go, hmm, I can do something different. And that's where it all started. You know,
And you started remixing into mocks with all of that.
yeah, 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 yeah. And that's also the same time I discovered brick shells. And
The
right after that,
classic.
looked at. You know, those all happen like one after the other. And so I literally did an ad lib, a heavy mod of the X-wing. It is a mock. There's no mod to it. And I posted it and I did photos of it. I photoshopped it, threw it up online, posted it on Lugnet. My very first post was, look at what I did. And a bunch of people chimed in and said, that's pretty cool. And there you go. That started it.
So for those who don't know, Brickshelf was sort of like Flickr or Instagram, but for Lego only. Back in the day when
Yeah,
there were no
it's
photo
very
sharing
yeah,
sites.
very proto Flickr, very proto Instagram.
Oh yeah, well,
Uh,
it predates all of them. And
yeah,
Lugnet was the big message board that we all went to because there was no Facebook. This is pre-Facebook, pre-MySpace, pre-Friendster. So it's just like a
pre
gathering
everything.
place.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what message boards were at the time. They were just after news groups. So it was kind of the same
yep,
vibe, but taking it to the web instead of in the news groups, alt Lego or anything like that.
yeah.
Or
It
Rec
was it
Place
was a
Lego.
Yeah, and it opened up, that basically opened up the community worldwide as a result. Instead of having these, groups that were somewhat localized, suddenly we have a place where everybody can go, "Let's go to Lugnet," boom, and you were able to communicate with somebody from Denmark, you know, and that was just a mind-blowing concept at the time. So, all that happened, and that basically it was a good time. It was a real fun time to be in the community.
Oh, no, it
So,
was great because everybody had this everybody talked to everybody because there was no algorithm, it was just, the
yeah,
communal
it's just who
hall.
you chose. It was who you chose to talk to, and who you is what you chose to listen to, what you chose to read, look at. Um, we have mentioned about how Brickshelf was a precursor to all this. You're right. There was no algorithm. There was just a page of stuff that was recently posted, and you just browse through it. There was no reason. There was nothing governing what was going on except the time. And you can do a search if you wanted to, but I mean,
Right.
you just had basically a daily photo record of what was going on, and you just poke around. And that proved to be so much fun on so many levels because it opened up my eyes to all sorts of things in the community.
And the fact that that's where the community was, like, the
Yeah,
community wasn't coming to you like with social media. You had to actively look for it. You had to actively find it. But once you did, you were actually like able to communicate with people and kind of, build your relationships with everybody as opposed to the way everybody kind of swarms and projects. There wasn't as much of that back then.
yeah. There were well profiles. What were the
Yeah.
profiles back then? There weren't any. You just had to go. Hi, I'm so and so. You build good stuff,
Yeah.
and and see what happens. And the community was almost ridiculously positive at that point because everybody is out to meet everybody else, and it was just there. The people that I met there, I still know now.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
No, and the fact that it was a level playing field. So like I could talk to people who worked for Lego. I could talk to Nathan Sawaya. There was no barriers like there are now, like with the media.
exactly, exactly, and to make it even better is that nobody really knew. At that point, nobody really knew. So,
Yeah.
yeah, you could actually wander into this, "Oh my god," builder, and you wouldn't know. It's sort of like, and if you go to the comic conventions, everybody knows the movie stars and whatnot, but nobody knows the artists. So you can end up walking into an elevator, going minding your own business, and some cover artist is right beside you, and you wouldn't notice unless you looked at the name tag. "Oh my god, you're the guy that" Uh-huh. That's happened to me many times.
I believe it.
That's how it happened on Lugnet. It's just that it was online, and you just look at the name, and then you make the connection after a while. It's like, "That guy built that. You're the guy that built you're Chris Giddens. Oh my gosh," that kinda thing happened. And
Yeah.
so, and that extended out to the events, you know?
Oh, exactly. I've had the same experience where, I met these people on Lugnet, and then all of a sudden, like, I met my first Lego convention. It's like, oh, that's you? That's really cool. And then it's like I have friends 20 years later because,
Yeah.
I went to a convention you ran, and um and I still we'll get to that part, but
Yeah.
but it's the fact that like because of Lugnet, because of the early like message boards, I still talk to people like 20 years later that like I'm friends with in the Lego community, and we
Mhm.
still inspire each other. We still talk occasionally, and it's like life has changed, but we both still love Lego. So
Yeah, I mean, as
here
long
we
as
are.
the interests don't change, you're fine, you know?
Well,
Y
some people drop
we
out of the hobby.
adapt. Yeah, yeah, we adapt accordingly. It's not things happen, things good, things bad, and we adapt accordingly. Um, and, that's actually, one of the best lessons I learned about online happened because of the hobby, because the friendships I made through Lugnet most of them, if not all of them, are still around. Regardless of what's happened to them. You know,
Oh, of
and
course.
it's been amazing to see that since that was like 25 years ago.
Right. So,
So long time.
so as we're saying, LugNet leads to in-person events. What was your first in-person Lego AFOL event?
Oh dear God. It was a BrickFest. I think it was BrickFest 2001. I always get that confused. But it was a BrickFest. I somehow discovered, it's like, hey, that's I lived in North Carolina at the time. It's like, hey, it's not that far away. I can do this. It's just a matter of setting up some, scheduling, things like that. And other people on LugNet were telling me, yeah, we're going so and so and so and so. So I ended up going 2001 and just being completely blown away by a convention that was literally held in a administrative building at a college. So all the display rooms were basically classrooms.
Nice.
I'd never been to a convention before, so this was new and interesting. But what was cool was that um, this was before there was public.
Yeah.
So it was literally a very private little convention with not necessarily private people, but everybody was very personable. First person I met there, actually the Mike Huffman, I met him for the first time.
Uh-huh.
And I also met Chris Giddens. And Chris Giddens was the guy who got me into space. I was already in space, but he
Space.
basically was such a great ambassador, let me in without a second thought, and just, you know, made me feel very much at home. And that was a one really cool thing about the whole event. It's like all these people from who knows where, we all got together and we were all friends. I mean, there was, drama. Nah, there wasn't any drama. Everybody wanted to meet
Yeah.
people. Everybody got together. Everybody went out afterwards. You know, it was very much um, it was a reunion before everybody got together, which is really weird. You know,
I like it. No, it's a
yeah, I mean,
great way to put
but then,
it.
it was like everybody got together and I was like, it's like a reunion, but we hadn't met beforehand. It's like, but we knew from online, we knew each other. So, I mean, a lot of the old builders back then, they were great. They were great to talk to and great to, it's like, how did you do this? And they would just like, Chris would just grab his mouse, like pull it apart and go, "Here, this is out, that, and there you go." Um, I mean, it was just amazing at that point. So, but that's how I got in. And then after that, after a couple of events, I actually started volunteering and helping out because they were cool. It's like,
Uh,
and
yeah.
so I also was curious to see, how do you do these things? I didn't have any intentions of doing anything at that point, but it was one of those things like this. There were things that I was looking at, it's like, we could do this, we can do this, and it's like, well, nobody's going to pay attention to you if you don't volunteer. So that's what I started doing.
And you volunteered for a couple years,
Yep.
which led to 2006.
The craziest event when that was the that was the event, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
Um,
So
uh,
my buddies Mike and Lee, they went to BrickFest in 2005, and they're like, "You gotta go! This was incredible. It was so much fun. There was so much Lego. There were so many cool people." So in 2006, my first Lego convention was BrickFest 2006, run by Joe Meno.
which was that was a new one because that was the first convention that was outside of that was actually done at a quote unquote convention center, which was an interesting set of variables to play with. But given how things were going, it was a natural. Um, it was a natural, actually, more or less implied upright. There we had to find a more appropriate place, and that's also that. Well, no, public was happened at 2005, maybe. We had to. This also opened up the possibilities for public in a different way. So all the things that I learned kicked into play on this, and I had a few things that happened beforehand that really taught me how to get the event going. And I can't give you any idea what happened during the event because I was busy I was burning the candle on three ends and basically trying to manage a big machine that I really wasn't sure how to run at that time, and just trying to do that and look like I knew what I was doing, which I clearly was like, yeah. There is so I had a good staff though. I had a really good staff.
So as somebody who attended lots of comic book conventions at that point, but never a Lego convention, I had a good time. I had a lot of fun. Everybody I was with had a great time. Got to meet a lot of great people. Got to see so much cool Lego stuff.
Oh yeah.
And, it was just mind blowing. And then it was just like the quote unquote, Lego celebrities of the time, like Sean Kinney and Nathan Sawaya.
Yeah.
I just remember being looking at some Lego, and to my right, they're just standing there together and they're looking at something, they're talking, and I just kind of joined the conversation. It was so cool. These are the biggest, the big names right now, and they're just chilling and whatever. And
I mean, that was well, that makes me. Did you have an elevator incident where you just walk in the elevator or going somewhere and you just looked and it's like, holy cow, who? It's like, you're so and so and so and so. Did you have that?
No, because it was in a hotel or attached to a hotel?
It was in a hotel.
It was in the hotel.
It was in Sheraton, and it's like it was inside of
But it was only like a 3-4 story hotel. It wasn't big, so I was just taking the stairs. I didn't take the elevator. I was on the second floor.
Yeah, that hotel got torn down a couple of years ago. It was weird to see that happen. But one day there was a announcement on online, and I'm like going, wow. And I drove by one time, it was there, and I drove in a couple months later, it wasn't there. And I was like, wow, so many things. Oh well.
And pretty much every place that BrickFair has been at has been torn down at this point too. So
I mean, it's just weird to see that happen. It's time. Just how
it comes for us all.
Yeah,
it comes for us all.
Yeah. So, but it was a fun event, and planning it, there were some hysterical things that happened. In retrospect, at the time, it was like the worst thing you can do, or actually the hardest thing you can do, is manage volunteers. And so and the reason being is that they don't get paid, so you have to keep them happy, or else they walk, and there are no laws. They will walk. And so part of the game was just trying to make sure everybody's happy and everything's going like this. The other thing was getting the theme coordinators. The people who ran all the themes and all. It's like, I just looked at it. It's like, so what do you do? It's like, well, easy. Find somebody who knows more than you do on that and let them have it. So that's what I did. And also keep them happy and all this stuff. And so I quickly learned that the event coordinator is he's a facilitator. He's not a coordinator, or he or she. They're a facilitator. It's not my job to run it. It's my job to make it easy for the others to run it. So I did that. And it ran awful smoothly, up until we turned it on. It was one of the things like, okay, the blueprints are here. Everything looks like it should work. Yeah, let's see. Okay, well, hit the switch.
That's always the trick.
Yeah, it's like, hit the switch. Well, I don't want to hit the switch. Why don't you want to hit it? Today is when it starts. You got to hit the switch. Okay. Run screaming over to the coordinator's office, such that it is, and just watch and hope that nothing caves in on us. But nothing did. And like I said, there are some funny, crazy things that happened during and after. In terms of what happened with the event. And I was very happy afterwards. I was very proud of what happened because it was literally it was a good example of community coming together and getting something done really well. And all I did was just basically point it and said, "Go there, make it happen." And everybody went, "But we don't know how." It's like, okay, in that case, do what you want to do, and I'll figure out how to make it happen. And that's basically what happened. So it
Just
was
make it up
quite,
as we go along.
yeah, and it was a lot of fun because it turns out that all the things I've done up to that point really did help me in getting things, figuring out how to get things done and how to solve problems. So yeah, it, it, it's a nice it's a nice feather in my cap that I very rarely talk about because I did it. That's all I need to know. So
You did it. And again, it was a memorable for a lot of us who were there. We still
yeah,
talk
I'm
about it.
very surprised by that. Because for me, like I said, I couldn't tell you what was going on during the event. Um, I can tell you there were some great displays and all, but I can tell you that. Oh yeah, we did a 10-minute delay, and somebody had to basically slap some sense into me on that particular night. I think it was Saturday night. Um, to make things go forward because I got bogged down. Um, there were the other thing that happened was that we ended up going into the event with money because everything
Oh,
worked out so well. We blew away the room allotments and things like that. So basically, the hotel said, "Hey, you got the whole floor,"
oh,
and
nice.
it's like, okay, so that's great. We need to fill it. We can do that. But then it's like, well, can we get like snacks or anything? And it's like, and they gave us this folder, and then we looked at it, it was literally the bread and water plate. And it's like, I was like going, bread and water plate. Well, you got the money. What the hey? And so it's like, just get the bread and water plate. And the bread and water plate came out toward the end of the opening ceremonies, and it was cold cuts, bread, and water. But it wasn't just a little slab of bread or anything. It was a full spread, and they were just carting it out, and I'm just looking at it, like, what's all this? And the person who was running the financial, like, well, that's what you ordered, Joe. And I was like, really? Dang, wish I knew that. I wouldn't have eaten dinner. And the sad thing is that a couple other people complained to me about that afterwards. Like, dude, you didn't tell us we were doing this. Like, honestly, I didn't expect it. It's like, yeah, but we went out to dinner. And I'm like, sorry, but but
Nice.
that kind of stuff would happen, and it's just like, um, all right, all right, smile and wave.
Well, so one other thing that happened is because there were like no conventions back then, you got some really impressive people there. Um, I met quite a few Lego employees who were there just hanging out, attending. But then your guest of honor,
You had to refresh me on that one.
it
Uh,
was it was like because I'm blanking now too, but it was a very, very, very high ranking person at Lego.
oh yeah. JVK.
Yes.
Jörn Vig Newstrup, the CEO. That was one of those things where it's like, once that was confirmed, that was one of the things where like, great, the CEO is
Yeah.
coming over to our little event. Great, real. No stress, no pressure. We'll just run it away and just hope for the best. Let's just it's not going to cave in, I hope. But it ran really well, and that was during the time that Lego actually sent, like, since there weren't very many events to begin with, they would send a whole contingent of people. So yeah,
Yeah.
there was JV, there was Vig, there was the guy who became the person in charge of the community, Tormid Skills, and he was there.
Yeah.
So it was really good because this was one of those times where they got to see firsthand how their product, how their product impacted people's lives, both in what the people, what the AFOLs built, but also with all the people who came in and saw what was going on. So it was really neat in that respect. It was something I honestly did not address in terms of a goal. For me, it was just, okay, we got to figure out a party. We got to figure out a party with people who want to show off stuff. And we got to figure out something for the public to see at the end. Because ultimately, the public pays for all the stuff that that's happening. So we got to do something at least on that level. And through all of that, it succeeded. And afterwards, it was a relief to be done. But at the same time, there was a part of me going, "Let's do this again. I've learned this. I've learned so much. Let's do it again." And it's like, hold off on that thought. take notes.
So it goes on hiatus in 2007. Why did BrickFest kind of go away after that?
Well, okay. So what happened? The switching over venues was something that had to happen sooner or later. And I basically forced the hand to do this. And one of the reasons why I ended up forcing the hand was that the deal that we ended up getting for BrickFest was one of those where it's like, you're kidding me. If we do this A, B, and C, we can do this. Well, we done A and B. It's just a matter of C, and looks like C can be done. So let's do it. So I actually signed the contract for that. It was on my name.
Oh.
But unfortunately, the people beforehand did not take too kindly to that. And the result of that was just that it was a great convention. It was a great proof of concept. But nobody followed up on it. And the next year there was an offer placed for an event the next year at the same venue that was extended out. But at that point, I had stepped back. I did my bit, and at that time also BrickJournal was starting the magazine was starting to get off the ground. So I'm just like, no, it's like not my thing. And so it went on hiatus. And the interesting thing about all of this is that I wrote notes on everything. So I had a book. I had basically a book of information on how to do this stuff. Back then, all you had to do was just find the venue, make sure the venue has hotel rooms, leverage the hotel rooms against the display space, and go for it. That's all. That's all you had to do. You can't do that anymore.
No,
that only
not anymore.
Yeah, it's like that only worked a couple of years. Then that went out the window. But yeah, so while I was on hiatus, I was getting contacted by other people about other events that they wanted to do. And so after that, I ended up helping out BrickWorld and BrickFair. And BrickFair actually got the deal that we had for BrickFest.
Yeah, their first year was 2008. They skipped the year, and
Yeah.
they kind of took over the Sheraton for I think 2 years there.
Yeah.
Being run by Todd.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I just gave them advice and just this is what you do, and go. So, and I ended up helping BrickWorld first like 4 years. I ended up helping them, I think, and BrickFair, I helped out whenever I could. So,
and both of those are now thriving.
mm-hmm.
They both claim to be the largest in the country.
Large is a relative thing.
Well, they bring in, thousands of agents to each convention. Yep. And they do their things, each in a little different way, but both huge. They both bring in, the public, and everybody loves Lego.
Mm-hmm.
So
and also BrickCon is another one of the big ones too. And actually, of all of them, BrickCon still is the event that still keeps the feeling of the old conventions.
nice.
Yeah, it's the one that feels more like home.
I'm gonna have to go out there one year. BrickCon is one of those cons I've never been to. All right, 2026. I'm going with Joe Meno. BrickCon. Let's make it happen.
Yeah,
we're gonna do a tour. We're gonna do BrickWorld. We're gonna do BrickFair. We're gonna do BrickCon. We're gonna do Bricks in the Six. We're gonna do Brick Rodeo.
Brick Rodeo is pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, so I met the organizer from Brick Rodeo. I mean, they gave me a sticker and a minifigure.
Oh, you lucky dog.
The sticker is kind of not on my desk, but the minifigure's here. Yeah. And because I was talking to somebody, and he came over to talk to her. It turned out to be one of the Lego Masters contestants, and I didn't even know. And he's like, "Oh, do you want one too?" I'm like, "Sure."
What the heck?
I will never say no to free Lego.
That's a good rule of thumb.
So yeah, so he gave me this cool little cowboy. He gave me a Brick Rodeo sticker, which my desk is a mess. And I'd love to go. I love Texas. I've been there a few times. So maybe next year we'll make it happen.
Yeah, it's a pretty neat event. I was a guest of honor maybe 3 years ago, before the COVID stuff happened. I think it was
that was 5.
Yeah, it was a hoot. Yeah, it was a genuine hoot.
Nice.
So, but yeah, there. You need to backtrack some to talk about some of the other funny things that have happened, especially with dealing with Lego and community. I can tell you some things about that.
Love to hear them.
The Toy Fair.
Toy Fair.
Good old Toy Fair. Toy Fair way back when was in New York City, Valentine weekend or somewhere in that neighborhood. When thanks to BrickFest and then later BrickJournal, the magazine, I got the attention of the community team there, Tormid. And Tormid basically got me press credentials and whatnot, and to go over to Toy Fair. And so first time I went with I'm pretty sure I went with Jim Foltz. Okay. And we went on one of the blizzards happened.
I remember that.
Yep. Oh my gosh. And the thing was, I wasn't dressed appropriately for that. I was dressed for, business casual. And we ended up staying over in New Jersey on the other side. So we had to take the ferry.
Oof.
Oh, so much fun. No, it was the first day we're going, is the ferry even going to run? It is. Can we see the other end of the side of the river? No. We go. So we go, and we're going in, and I have a jacket. I'm very, very inappropriately dressed for this. I go out, and it's like ankle deep snow. The dock is across the street from the Javits Center. Inexplicably, we miss it because the snow was so thick.
Oh no.
We go, and I was like, where's it going? Uh-oh. And we, get our bearings like, oh, it's over there. And so
Yep.
so we go and we're soaking wet and all. And we attended there. And I think that night was a collector's party. Way back when Lego had a collector's party for those websites and news media to show off their new sets for the next year. It was a pretty nice to do kind of thing. And they would have a little swag. And that was my first introduction to what, how they dealt with the community, if you quote unquote were that big. And at that time we were that big. And so it was interesting because Sean Kenny, as you mentioned, he's based in New York. He's not anymore. He
was at the time.
Yeah. And so yacked with him. This was, I think, the year they showed off the first Millennium Falcon UCS.
Ooh.
Yeah. So it was a really neat thing. And for the next few years, they would offer, they would have this event. That changed around when COVID happened. But up until then, there were lots of fun things. And in fact, you've gone in a couple of times, and back then it was just a lot more fun. You know,
I never got to go into Toy Fair. I never got the invite. So I would meet you and whoever you were with for lunch or dinner, depending which year. So Scott Little, another AFOL, still communicate with occasionally, who's in the film industry now, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
He used to be your plus one, and then I'd grab lunch with you. There were times we grabbed dinner with the Beyond the Brick guys. And Andre, who's I can never remember the name of his
Lehman?
Yeah.
From not Promo Bricks.
No, it's a German name, and that's why I can never remember it.
Zuma. It starts with a Z and is really long, and I can't say it long.
Yes, and that's the only reason I can't remember it, because he's a nice guy. And
he's really good.
He has good content. I can never remember the name of his publication.
Whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, it used to be a lot of fun, and learned a little bit more than a little bit about the toy community at that time. But yeah, that was one of the things that got me in, and also first Lego League.
Oh yes.
You do first Lego League?
I've never done it. Our mutual friend Lee did back in the day, and I would kind of help him a little bit, but I was never really fully part of it.
Okay.
Yeah, Lee Magpilly.
Yeah, he's a great guy. So let's just jump into the magazine.
Well, there's one other Toy Fair event that I did help you with.
Go.
So there was the year that Toy Fair decided they wanted to do a public event. And I'm gonna forget what they called it, but Lego asked you to organize it. So at the time, I had been doing a robot that takes pictures. So
Tourist Bot.
Yes, Tourist Bot. So I set up Tourist Bot, and then it would, take pictures, and we kind of turned it into a Lego photo booth, and we had a lot of fun with that. And I think Scott was also one of the people who was helping with it. But
that particular one, Scott, Jeff Gray was involved in that one. He helped out with it. He had a great ball contraption-y kind of thing.
Yeah, I remember there's something like that, and I just couldn't remember who ran it.
Yeah, I remember that one. that was an interest. That was like Playfair or something like that.
That actually may have been what it was called. Yeah. But it was fun.
It was fun. It didn't do what was expected, but it was fun.
Well, that's why they only ran it the 1 year. But
yeah,
the one thing, my one regret is, it was the year Batman v Superman came out. I believe one of the it was Dark Knight Returns, the third Nolan movie, I think.
Okay, yeah,
it's that far back. But they had the Batmobile there, and I got a picture with it. But because we were there like the Friday night when it was just like industry only, my one regret is because it was open, I didn't ask, can I sit in it?
Oh man, that would have been a
But
hoot.
other than that, like it was awesome. Like the Warner Brothers people, I was talking to them, they were really cool because they knew, because I mean they're at the industry night, so they figured I was industry, and I'm just there taking a picture of the Batmobile. Like, oh, can we take a picture for you? So it's like, all right. So I have a so the Warner Brothers press person who was really nice to me, she took a picture of me with the Batmobile.
Excellent.
So, but it was just like it's just these fun experiences that kind of Lego has led me to.
Yeah, so many things have happened to me because of Lego, and it's a hobby that is amazingly open-ended when you sit down and look at it. And because of that, there's always some opportunity out there for something interesting to happen. And it's like I said, I can tell you stories.
Oh well, that's why we're here, for stories.
Yeah.
Like,
So another event that happened, the Challenger Center in Houston wanted to do they had a cosmic rendezvous. It was a fundraiser. And it was a fundraiser for the Challenger Center, which is basically a nonprofit organization for education, I think. And they had a benefit dinner. Lego contacted Jake McKee back then, the U.S. community person back then, and he grabbed a couple people, and it turns out I was one of them. And we went over and we had to do a little display, a little modest display, unplanned display, whatever we had. And they sent us back then it was the Discovery NASA sets.
Yeah, I remember them.
Yeah, and they sent a bunch of those, a full set of those, and then a shoebox, literally a shoebox of dark orange 2x4 bricks.
Ooh,
and
nice.
said, make something with them. And I made something with them. Some other people made some. One of the people, let's see, Felix Greco was involved in this. Eric Sophie was involved in this.
Oh, I remember him.
Yeah, I do too. Trying to think, is there anybody else? Okay. Well, turns out, so we're off to Houston. And before that, one of the things that happened with BrickJournal was when it started out as a proto magazine online. First issue, I ended up finding a builder who was over at Houston Space Center, and we did an interview. Turns out he was a guy who does EVA, trained the astronauts in EVA activities. Going
cool.
out. Yeah, it was one of those things like, really? And you build Lego? Huh. Oh, who would have thought? But it was really cool. And at that point, I'm just going, I should contact him. So I contacted him, and he said, oh yeah, come on down. I'll show you a tour or whatnot. And it's like, just come on down. And I made sure I was a day early because I didn't know what was going to happen. So I came in a day early and met up with, I was supposed to meet him over at Houston Space Center, over at the visitor center. So I did. Nice guy. And he goes, all right, I need to give you the tour. And I go, okay, that sounds cool. And we go, and he drives me in, and turns out he's the guy who does all the VIP tours.
Oh, really?
Nobody told me about that part. So, I'm just like, okay, that's just tour. No big deal. We'll just look at big buildings and big rockets and whatnot. Okay, fine. We go over to the rather humble looking building. He does this spiel. It's like, this is a national landmark. This is mission control, and we restored it to Apollo 11 days. Yada, da, 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 da. And we go up to this big old honking door, two floors size door, giant door. And it's like, I look up and it's like, okay. And then he opens it, and there it is. Multi-level, all the things, everything's there. And I peeked my head in and I was like, oh my God. Because, all the stations are there and all, every video's running as if it was Apollo 11 landing. Yada, yada. And I'm just like, I looked back and I saw the area where the tourists go. And they're all looking down on this. And I'm looking down, I'm looking, oh, wow. And he goes, you can go in. And I was like,
Ooh.
really? And it's like, yeah, you can go in. So I go in and I actually walk up and I walk into one of the stations and I start pushing buttons and things like that. And wow, that's really cool.
I hope you got pictures of you doing that.
I do. I have to find them, but I do. And what was funny is like, that was just the start. It's like, okay, we got to go over to the neutral buoyancy room. Huh? It's like, okay, big swimming pool where they train the astronauts.
Yeah, that's how they train 0G.
Yeah. And so it's this giant pool. And the sad thing is I can't swim. So I'm looking at it going, dude, I'm at the edge. It's like, dude, I'll just keep my distance here, but that's really cool.
That is hella cool.
And went over to they had the acoustic room, which is just this huge room, which has no sound.
Oh, those are creepy.
Yeah, it's like it was, and then then went over to all the training spaceships. So I got into a shuttle simulator, jumped into the cockpit, and walked through some of the modules of the ISS at that point. It was an amazing trip. And then at the end, met over his truck, and he showed me his mocks.
The dessert, of course.
Yeah, and we just shared mocks and we talked about it. And then after that, the next day, we ended up getting everything ready for the event, which it worked. Yeah, it worked. It's like,
right. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of anticlimactic after that, though.
Yeah. After that, I'm just coasting, and so it's like, yeah, I'm having a great time. So yeah, that was, but yeah, that would be the kind of thing that would happen to me, like once every 6 months, something that wildly goofy would happen. So the hobby has served me well in that respect.
Yeah, I mean, the hobby was a lot smaller and closer back then, so you could get stuff like that going.
Yeah.
But now it's a little bigger and more widespread. That
a little more convoluted too.
Yeah, I mean, we could do a whole hour on just that.
Yeah.
But at one point, you did go back to running conventions, though.
Yeah, Brick Magic.
And that went, what, 2-3 years in North Carolina?
Yeah. And that was an interesting thing. We tried to do the same thing as we did before, and it worked, but not as well as it could have. And the big difference back then was that there was a focus on having a special guest, whereas previously the special guests, after all said and done, were the builders. So there was no reason to feature one over the other or whatever. They were all great, and but there was a focus to find a featured guest to use as a draw. And because of that created a budget item that we just proved to be a little bit too unwieldy as time went on.
What kind of guests did you have as your main guests?
Oh, let's see. First one was Nathan Sawaya, I think. The second one was Sean Kenny. And then third one was Dan Parker. They're all, and we also had Tommy Williamson as one. So we actually did 4. We had to have done 4.
Oh, my mistake. I honestly, I never unfortunately got to attend because it was always Mother's Day weekend. So
yes, that was a big selling point. It was a small, if you want to term it in terms of sizes, the other events were like kind of battleship size. This was more like a PT boat.
That's fair.
So, and it was a good size to get things done for me. It's like it was a nice, manageable size. But the uh, it just basically the cost actually got too much to actually run. So the last one was over in Charlotte, and it was not too far away from the Lego outlet.
Oh,
Used to be
nice.
an outlet, but
Yeah.
Lego store over at whatever Mills, uh, whatever outlet mall there was over there. But it turns out that had very little, if any, effect. So, and so,
Oh,
Brick Magic fizzled out.
oh, it's unfortunate. Do you think there's a place for smaller conventions like that at this point, or does everybody kind of want to see big and
I
you
think
know?
there's a place for it, mainly because what also happens when you make a place for something like that, you're gonna, and this has already happened to a certain extent. Local groups want their own convention.
I can see
That's
that.
that that, and that's what that's that's actually not a bad idea. If you're trying to run all of them, I mean, if you're trying to coordinate all of them, that is a problem. But in terms of if you're a club, yeah, why not? Because
Yeah.
you know, especially if you have a nice, if you have people interested in doing it, by all means, go for it. Um, because there are no best practices to do this. There
Oh, I
really
agree.
aren't.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
my club through the years has done exhibits more than conventions,
mhm.
but we've had a good time. We've had experiences. We're finding that people don't wanna bring us in to do big events for them anymore, though. So who knows?
Yeah, yeah. When I was in a the North Carolina lug, we did events, and we actually had some pretty fun events. But yeah, we became we had an event over at a Christmas event over by a beach. It's
Oh,
really
nice.
fun. They let us stay. They gave us hotel rooms and all this stuff, but it became too expensive for them, so they dropped us after three
Yeah.
years, I think. But it was
Yeah.
fun while it lasted. But yeah,
That's kind of what happened to us, or they kind of just COVID happened and they just didn't wanna pick it up afterwards.
yeah,
So, our bigger shows are non-existent. We do, like, library shows now and small ones, but again, it's like we don't run them, we're just kind of brought in to,
yeah. And I
entertain.
mean, there are opportunities. I mean, science fiction conventions or whatnot. They offer space if you ask, or if you know who to ask, you can get space because they know it's a draw.
Oh,
Uh,
definitely. Uh, so I ran the only Lego workshop at New York Comic Con this past year, and,
Yay!
yeah, it was a lot of fun, and we accommodated for, like, 50 seats, and it's basically in a big open room. Like,
Mhm.
the family area was a big, like a I don't know how to put it, but, like, a large concrete room with 2 different stages and video games and everything, like, it was huge, and we had 50 seats. I got there about 10 minutes early, and they were pretty much, like, snaked halfway around the room. It was ridiculous.
Wow.
So, like,
Wow.
just that's the power of Lego, to the point where,
Yeah.
like, I talked to the organizer, I'm like, "This is what happened. We were too popular. I had made 10 extra kits, and I still, like, turned
Mhm.
away 3 times, 4 times as many people who wanted to be there."
Yeah. Yeah.
So, we're gonna do bigger and better next year. We've already started talking to New York Comic Con, but we see the
Excellent.
power is there. Like, Lego is supremely it's,
Yeah. I mean,
it's,
yeah, San Diego
starting to
Comic
learn
Con,
too.
we've done presentations there, and what's hysterical to me is that we got put into the dungeon presentation slots,
Uh-huh.
otherwise known as you are going to get the 5 o'clock slot on Saturday.
Oh.
And it's like, why there? And it's like, well, I mean, that's the best place we can put you in, but it's like the good news about having the last slot of a day is that there are no squatters. the people who are there really want to see what's going on. So that's pretty nice. But yeah, we started out half filled, but then we ended up filling our space. And what was just funny is just that uh, I got it because my publisher is a vendor over at San Diego Comic Con. He's been there for years,
Of course.
and he just said, just put a proposal, see what happens, and boom, we got it. Um,
Nice.
and it surprised everybody, including other blogs. Some people got a little bit upset that I ended up getting a presentation at Comic-Con the first time around. They thought that Lego set me up, and it's like, no, I kind of happened, and I paid for it out of my own pocket, and it was a hoot. I'll give you that. But yeah, Lego had very little to do with it. And at that time, Lego has this big booth and whatnot.
Oh yeah.
But the guy who was running the booth, like, how do you get a presentation? He literally asked me, and I just went,
I filled out the form.
yeah. It's like, I'm just like,
meanwhile, he's Lego. He could just say, we want a presentation. They will give him one.
Right. And I'm just sort of staring at him. It's like, why are you asking me? It's like,
yeah.
It's like, I only got him because it turns out my publisher has been with him for so long that, he knows what to do. So it's like, okay. And about 2 years later, Lego started doing their own presentations, which was cool to see.
Cool.
I wouldn't go to them because they were mobbed, but
of course.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it was cool to see.
Yeah, I mean, San Diego's the only convention that Lego does anymore, so you might as well grab it while you can there.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it's been a while since I've been there. Costs too much now.
I've never been, so who knows? Maybe next year they'll want the podcast there. We'll see.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I mean, you actually have a chance to go, and because you have a podcast. So yeah.
I had a pro badge years ago when I had a different podcast, but I never went because it was on the other side of the country.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of let it lapse, but I could have had a pro
badge. I had a pro badge. It was pretty funny. It's like at one time I had like all of them, and then presentation badge. So I was like, what the heck?
I had 1 year at New York Comic Con where I literally had just like a stack of them like that too.
Yeah.
So I know how that is.
It's funny. It's like, it's fun to have that kind of rank, but at the same time, it's like, it's not that big of a deal. You just go in and you just wander around and see what you find out. So, but yeah.
And nobody cares about the different badges anymore for the most part.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Actually, the things that I did keep were the, the nameplates that they had.
Oh yeah,
I have a couple of those. Had to keep
I would keep them too. I get that.
So,
but yeah, conventions are a lot of fun. They've changed so much in the last 20 years that we could talk about it for the next 20 as well. But time comes for us all.
Yeah.
So we'll have to definitely have you back to talk about the BrickJournal magazine, what goes into making a Lego magazine, and how that has changed over the last, I'm not going to say how many years, because then it's,
Then we're all old.
Exactly. But it's, again, that should be reaching its 20 years now.
No, yeah, BrickJournal is actually 20. It'll be 21 next year.
Oh, 21. Okay.
Yeah,
so the 20th anniversary was this year.
Yeah.
Oh, it can drink. It's already legal. Became legal.
Yeah, so it can drink.
Right. Yeah. But we'll definitely have to have you back to talk about the magazine.
Okay.
But where can they find you and find out more about you, BrickJournal, and anything else you're doing? Any conventions you're going to be hitting next year?
Best place to look is on Facebook. Just look up my name, Meno. There are very few Menos online. BrickJournal.com really doesn't have too much going on. It shouldn't need to be have more content on it. BrickJournal as a magazine you can find on tomorrows.com. I would give you the full link to that, but it's a long freaking link. So just
It's
go
on
to
the front page.
tomorrow.com. Yeah, just
and it's two Morrows with a W. TWO
Yeah.
Morrows.
Yeah, it's two Morrows because, well, it's John Morrow and Pam Morrow, married couple.
Oh.
Boom. There you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right. Plus, look for Joe at your favorite Lego conventions next year.
Yep. I'm going to try and keep go to some more. Probably the first one's probably going to be BrickFair Fredericksburg.
Nice. That one's in March. So
yeah.
Good way to get kicked off.
Yeah.
And that's it for us this week. Joe, thank you for joining us. And
good to be here. It was a lot of fun to talk.
Thanks.
Bring back the old days.
Yep. And we'll see you all next week. Until then, play well.